all because he shamelessly cloned Warren Buffett's strategy. And that's literally finding good companies that are insanely undervalued and investing into them and then waiting. He doesn't use spreadsheets. He's not running, like looking at fine tuning enough so to use a calculator. Warren Buffett goes through books, right, to find his investment ideas. So just think about like who do you look up to within the industry? Go research who they read their biographies, understand how they think. Once you understand how successful people think, you can it's okay to copy them. Like it's okay, like Monish would say, it's just shamelessly clone them because it works. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can literally find the strategy from your icon and then start using their strategies or using where they look. So I saw even underneath the tweet that you guys pulled up there, Bill Ackman had commented on that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're a fan of Bill Ackman, his portfolio has less than 10 holdings in it. So why does yours have 30 or 40? If that's your idol within the industry, you got to start asking deeper questions.
So
And that's what I think a lot of us fail to do.
who do you look up to in the industry?
Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman. I'm a big fan of Bill Ackman. Like I said, Monish
Why is
Pabrai.
this shit tweaking?
That's rather recent. I am, of course, a Buffett guy, but even more so a Charlie Munger guy. I think
Me
I'm
too.
more like Charlie than Warren. I think I'm just very direct. Could be intimidating, but I think he just had it right. He was dialed in. He wasn't afraid to really voice his opinion and hurt feelings. And so I have to say those three. So again, Monish Pabrai, Bill Ackman, and Charlie Munger.
Great names there. And I've read like anything that Charlie writes, definitely try to read. So definitely, like, if you guys are gonna pick books to read, a lot of people don't like books because they haven't had one that gave them like a breakthrough moment in their actual life. And so if you're a little more selective about who you pick to read about, that can definitely help that. And Charlie Munger, there's what's the one that I'm referring to that I'm thinking of?
Poor Charlie's Almanac.
I think that is it. Yes, definitely. Yes, it is. Go. Yes, that is absolutely it. I'll show you guys on the screen. But I definitely recommend going to pick this book up. Talks a lot about how he approaches problems and how he thinks, and then also incentive structures too. Right, this book right here. Definitely recommend picking that up because a lot of it we do overcomplicate it, and a lot of it comes down to people thinking that more advice is always better. Right. And so that's also one of the biggest problems with short form social media in particular is that you're getting so many people's advice and most people should not be giving advice. That's just like the cold hard truth of it. But they figured out a way that they could package this advice that would get people to watch it. And so then in turn that people, our natural priming is, okay, social proof. Enough people watch this. It must be good. I promise you, as somebody who has studied social media for 10 years, it is the opposite. If something has a lot of views, chances are the advice is not that good in most cases, especially if it's like something really like deeper. Chances are if they could get everyone to understand it, it's probably not as profound as they're trying to convince you that it is.
That's such a great point. And it really highlights who the content creator is trying to touch, the masses. And when you are the viewer, I don't know about anybody else out there, but when I was younger and I was watching, like Andre Jick, I think is a good example. He's in that like little closet space and like it just feels like it's you and him and he's talking to you. Graham Stefan does the same type of thing, right? It feels so just one-on-one. And then you get what they're saying, you're like, oh, great idea, okay, I'll do that. The problem with that is that video is seen by like thousands upon thousands of people, millions of people. And so would an investment advisor just grab a mic and say, hey, everybody, buy this? No. That's actually illegal. You can't even do that. I mean, you get fined up the wazoo if you did that. So you have to figure out, regulation BI, regulation best interest. Who's in front of you? What's their profile? What's their timeline? What's their risk appetite? I mean, everything. There's so many questions that go into that. So creators, I'm like the most fearful of for viewers. I just want to say, go find your icon and then listen to everything they say. Watch, every video, read the books. If you don't like reading, start to like reading because I can't say that enough. Find yourself diving into the depths of your idol's brain and shamelessly clone them, and you will see results.
Totally. Yeah, and I think the point that you made there about read whatever books they mentioned too is so huge, because if you look up to someone and they deemed that a book was worth reading and still say that after the fact, like that is a massive like signal direction that you should definitely follow down. What are your favorite books of all time? Like, you have a top 5 list?
Oh man, I am like a voracious reader. I read basically a book a week. And I have gotten so bored of finance books because I found a lot of them to be all the same.
Yeah.
But I obviously this is a finance podcast. Right now, I'm reading Surrounded by Liars. That's just
God damn.
This is literally how I started. Aywa.
I don't like you.
I know, but you like me later. Yalla.
Yalla.
Aywa. Nice. Push. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Definitely on that test.
We'll change. I'm speaking Arabic, English. Push.
That's how I was tweaking, bro.
All right, but we're going to begin with new attacks on both sides of the war with Iran this morning. Last hour, we heard from Iran's supreme leader for the first time since he was named. Iran State TV delivered a written state from Mohammad Khamenei. He called for U.S. bases to be closed and attacked in the region, and for the Strait of Hormuz to be closed. Now, yesterday's attack on a Thai flag tanker is being seen as a foundational moment in this war. Iran has launched new attacks today. Now, this all follows President Trump's suggestion last night that there is little to nothing left of Tehran's military.
They are pretty much at the end of the line. Doesn't mean we're going to end it immediately, but they've got no Navy, they've got no Air Force, they've got no anti-air traffic, anything. They have no systems of control. We're just riding free range over that country.
That nigga's so cap.
CBS News chief correspondent Matt Gutman joins us from Tel Aviv, Israel now. So Matt, we just heard what the president said. What are you hearing about Iran's military capabilities?
It's obviously more complicated than what the president said. Iran has been preparing for this moment for decades. This is what they have sort of been ready for, and they have a strategy, and that strategy is to disrupt, delay, and deplete, right? They want to disrupt shipping lanes. They want to disrupt the economies in places like Israel, all of the Gulf states, and then they want to deplete both financial resources, emotional resources, and those anti-missile systems that most of the countries in the region have been using. And that strategy seems to be working. We also have to understand that Iran's is very decentralized in some of its military capacity, right? It doesn't really have an air force. It doesn't really have air defenses. The president is absolutely right about that. Its Navy is significantly depleted, but it does have many thousands of various kinds of missiles, including anti-ship missiles, and that's what we are told were being used in the Strait of Hormuz against at least one ship, possibly others. They have been hit by projectiles. And what is absolutely clear is that even though Iran's missile capacity has been significantly decreased, and there are various numbers that are associated with that, and whether they were all destroyed or neutralized and could be rehabilitated in the future remains in question. What is clear is that they still have the military capacity to keep a stranglehold on the choke point of the Strait of Hormuz. There are no ships coming in and out without Iran's say-so, exactly as Iran has been saying on state media, exactly what it has been warning the U.S. and Israel and the Gulf states. So they are going right according to their game plan. I guess the question is, what is the U.S. game plan at this point?
Yeah, it is surreal, Matt, to often hear the president saying that this war is nearly over, that Iran's military has been decimated, when you or one of our colleagues does a live shot from Tel Aviv and you hear the air raid sirens going off, right? And so there's that wrinkle. And now let's talk about the Strait of Hormuz, because you've got some new data about this backlog and how Iran appears to be capitalizing on the chaos. Break that down for us.
Absolutely. Their whole idea is to make this extremely painful for the Gulf states, for Israel, for the U.S., and now the entire world, right? A fifth of the world's oil, a large part of its LNG, liquefied natural gas, a lot, like a third of the fertilizer goes through this 20-mile-wide choke point at the Strait of Hormuz. And not all of that is navigable. We're talking about a 6-mile channel, 2 miles going one side, 2 miles going the other, a 2-mile buffer in between. And Iran showed that they were able to hit a ship right at the very narrowest point at will. So they are blocking traffic. They are also telling insurers that it's a really bad idea to insure any tankers or commercial vessels passing through there, and basically stopping, in some ways, part of the global market. 500 tankers are stuck in the Persian Gulf because of this, up to 4,000 ships. We're not sure how many of them are commercial, but it is a vast amount of the world's supply chain that is bottled up because Iran wants it that way. And so analysts tell us that over the past 72 hours, they have really taken control over the narrative and the pace and the way that this war is being fought, essentially forcing the U.S. to either come to some sort of deal or pour even more resources into the Strait of Hormuz, into the Persian Gulf, in order to, quote unquote, open it up. Right now, we don't have the kind of personnel in the area that can actually land on shore and make sure that it's clear so that ships can pass. That is a massive operation. And it's unclear if the U.S. ships in the area have the capacity to be able to escort other cargo ships through. So this is only going to get worse, I think, before it gets better. Much more complicated in the days to come, Vlad and Kelly.
Yeah, certainly, Matt. And I mean, obviously, we've seen what's happening with oil prices because of exactly what you're saying and the ripple effect. Before we let you go, we did hear some planes overhead. Were there alerts? Just sort of give us context for those that were seeing that.
Yeah, just a few minutes ago, we had an alert, but just now. So the airport in Tel Aviv, which is the main airport, is closed, but there's a lot of traffic. What is it? Typically, it's these Globemaster fuel tanker planes that are constantly doing this route right above our heads. So a lot of cargo planes, military planes as well. A lot of the refueling is happening in this area. So lots of activity, but not the commercial kind. And, you know, in terms of that, it's pretty much paralyzed here in Israel and across the Gulf and the region.
Matt,
Kelly.
one other thing real quickly before you go, which is that even as Iran's military and navy is being decimated, Hezbollah has continued to launch attacks against Israel. They are proxy for Iran. So again, another, to your point about how complicated this is, the Iranian military may be nearly destroyed, but these proxies are still carrying on their military activities.
And this is part of the greater strategic plan of Iran, right? This is why they spent countless billions of dollars building up Hezbollah, building up the Houthis in Yemen, building up proxies in Iraq, so that they can defray the cost of the war, they can take the casualties, and it takes the burden off of Iran, right? So Israel has sent hundreds of sorties to Lebanon in recent days. That means hundreds of fewer sorties on Tehran. That's exactly the point. That means that each day that Israel is attacking Lebanon, there are fewer planes attacking Iran. This is, I am told, all part of their plan, Vlad.
All right, Matt Gutman, thank you.
Former U.S. Ambassador to Israel Dan Shapiro appeared on CBS News Mornings earlier today to discuss Israel's role in this war and how it could change moving forward. Here's some of what he said.
I was in Israel for the first week of the war, and despite daily 6, 8, 10 missile warnings, both from Iran and from Hezbollah, I would say there was grim determination by most of the Israeli public to continue because they see this as a maybe once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to try to bring down a regime in Iran that has been their adversary and in some way torturer for decades. Obviously, the Ayatollah's son has been appointed, although he hasn't been seen, but he's been appointed as the new supreme leader. It appears the main structure of the regime is holding. There's an ideological core. There are hundreds of thousands of people under arms who are really fighting for their survival, both the regime survival and maybe their own personal survival. So I think it's unlikely the regime is going to crumble in a short period of time. And I do see the possibility that there's going to be a real divergence of goals between Israel, which would like to continue and try to pursue that objective, and the United States, which now President Trump has to deal with rising oil prices, supply chain disruptions, markets dipping, economic and infrastructure damage among the Arab states who are on the receiving end of so many of these attacks.
This is crazy.
What's it called? Fucking bro, I had to block some niggas, bro. Niggas being weird, fam. I'm kind of that, bro. Howard and Braxton, nigga, blowing my phone up in a group FaceTime with some girls, bro. I'm like, oh, these niggas is being weird. Told these niggas stop adding me. Still ringing me while I'm with my girl. I'm never gonna join. I've never joined. But I'm like, nigga, what y'all doing? Y'all being weird. But then, nigga, we go out Saturday, bro. I just called this nigga Cousin to get on his ass. Well, this nigga, I'm with my girl. I said, yeah, I'm never hanging out with this nigga. This nigga talking about I touched dicks in the locker room. Nigga was talking about my dick size. I'm like, what the fuck? But hold up. Hello. Can I get a classic roll? Okay. And that'll be it. The classic? Yeah, that come with 2, right? Just one. Oh. You want the 2-pack? It's 2. Yeah, can I get the 2-pack? My fault. That's what I meant. Okay. 2-pack of the plastic. Anything else? That's it. $8.99 at the All right, thank you. Yeah, and I'm in this whole David. Then this nigga tried to show me like a picture of him fucking. I didn't even ask. With my girl right there, nigga, in the middle. I said, bro, what the fuck is this nigga doing, bro? Bro, I said, yeah, this nigga's being weird, gang. I can never. I'm disappointed, bro. My nigga Sanjo would never. Hey, Cam, where you get food at? Nah, I'm getting my girl Cinnabon. She wanted the Cinnabon roll. Sugar. Mike, shit, my top of weed. Mike, you streaming right now?
Yeah.
Nigga not even talking. Nigga watching you, nigga. What the fuck? You simulation, nigga?
What are you talking about?
Nigga, you streaming and not even talking to your fucking yo niggas?
Nigga, I'm trying to figure out why this shit's bullshit.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you what streaming service to get, fam. For this shit. I got that shit. This shit works so good and easy, fam.
I'm not talking about a streaming service. The stream's working fine.
You talking about the audio?
No, it's the TikTok live.
Oh. That shit don't.
That nigga doesn't go live on TikTok.
Bro, yes he does. I've seen him live on TikTok.
Oh, I remember seeing it. I don't know.
But you got some bees in your head?
Yes.
Shit kind of hard. Who braids your hair, fool? I might have to hit them.
My sister?
Okay. I might have to hit her up.
She doesn't braid hair for money, nigga.
Oh, yeah.
I got a cousin that does, though.
For real?
Yeah.
How much she charge, bro? I just want regular cornrows, though.
I mean, she charged me $40, nigga, but I'm her cousin.
Probably me a little bit more. Sure. So you gonna pop out, Sandro, on Saturday?
Yeah, if I'm free.
Mike, what the fuck do you have, bro? What you got, fam, nigga?
Or shit, if I want to.
Yeah,
Like,
that's really. I knew that's what it was, nigga. If you want to. You talking to Giovanni?
I talked to him like a couple weeks ago.
What are you talking about? Alright, this shit on.
Bullshit.
What's it? It's just not starting.
No, nigga, this shit's not. People usually be piling up on this hoe, bro, but there's no people coming in this hoe.
You be having viewers for real?
Yeah, I mean, I went TikTok live fucking the other day. I mean, yesterday.
How many viewers you have?
No, there's just like a bunch of people will come in, but now that I actually got the live set up and shit, nobody's coming in. I think because I was just reacting to shit on YouTube, I guess that shit doesn't.
Who you trying to react to today?
I'm just reacting to a bunch of videos, like the Iran war and shit like that. All right, nigga.
Alright.
It's an hour-long video.
You guys, I have a question. I think I'm in love with ChatGPT, and here's why. I've been talking to ChatGPT for, I don't know, 6 months now.
Bro, why am I having a whole conversation with ChatGPT? And now I see what you guys are talking about. Now I see why some of you guys use this as therapy, because never have I felt so validated.
Did you guys know that Gen Alpha can't read? I was talking to one of our church kids, and he very boldly told me, yeah, I don't know how to read, and neither does anybody in my class.
You're stupid because you haven't read a book since you read Hunger Games in 8th grade. I need you to go read a book. There's a war on education, there's a war on knowledge, there's a war on books.
Kids can't read, they can't write legibly, and they're also ill-motivated to be in school because they know school might not have a payoff in terms of getting a job.
In the year 2025, literacy in the United States has hit its lowest in over 100 years. Meanwhile, the evolution and popularity of generative AI like ChatGPT has given rise for a new way for the next generation to avoid reading and comprehension altogether, posing a great risk for those numbers to continue to dwindle. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor, aka Silver Fox, and here on this channel I talk about classic literature, films, pop culture, and whatever I feel like talking about. And today I feel like talking about the literacy crisis and Gen Alpha and the rise of AI. And so we are going to be going over a lot of AI related things. It is the majority of this video, I would say, is about AI and the dangers of it and just how pervasive it is in our society right now. But I just don't think I can make a video about one without the other, because you can't really have a comprehensive video about AI without mentioning how it's affecting the literacy in the next generation. And you can't talk about the literacy in the next generation without talking about how AI comes into play. So I just thought I would talk about both. But before I get into all that, I just want to give a little personal update. I am so grateful for all of the kind comments that I have received, for all of the support for this channel and my videos. I have only made 2 videos so far, but I am so beyond happy with the reception. My first video is at almost 250 views, and my second video just reached over 200 views, which is crazy because I was expecting both of those to do way worse. I just reached 75 subscribers, which is absolutely freaking insane.
This is a full guide on how to LARP. And this isn't a joke, this isn't for comedy, I'm being for real. This is a very good skill to learn and it could take you far. And first thing, let's talk about the morals, because I'm not here to discuss that shit whatsoever. So do this at your own risk, because everybody LARPs, let's realize that at the end of the day. And the whole point of social media is showing your highlights, or at least that's what everybody does. Everybody shows off their highlights. Nobody's showing off the bad parts of their life. Yeah, you can be genuine, that's cool and all, but this guide is gonna teach you how to actually maximize those highlights and how to use others' highlights, if you know what I'm talking about. The next thing is the identity. You wanna start off with fresh Instagrams, fresh TikToks, fresh accounts, or something you haven't used before, like an old account. Then you want to get your verification on IG, so you get the check mark. That does a lot for your aura and getting recognized and getting seen. And then if you want, you can bot followers. Now there's websites where you can bot followers, and I literally cannot tell you, because if I tell you where to get these followers for cheap, it's gonna ruin it for everybody and it's gonna spread everywhere. You can do your own research and find those places on your own, but I cannot tell you the websites. Then try to get a clean username. I'm gonna show you guys examples literally right fucking now, but something clean that's easy to tell somebody. Like when I'm thinking of an example, like what is a username when I tell a girl, that's just easy for her to type in. But also stack up your mutuals. You want to get your IG built, and then that's kind of how you build up the identity. So let me show you a few examples right now. First, on TikTok, this guy has 6,000 followers. All right, his bio says LARPer. Like we're in the post ironic stage of LARPing now. Just fit, aesthetic, Ronaldo picture here and there. Like this is a very clean TikTok. He has his profile picture. He has all of his LARP slideshows. Now let's go to an Instagram example of somebody you guys probably all know, Black Boy Max. Because whether you like him or not, this is a pretty clean Instagram. Like he got 900k followers. One thing in his bio. For Instagram, keeping a clean profile is way more important. One thing in his bio, it's his 5-star at. And then he got a few pictures. Go to his tagged, nothing there. It just simple. Let's go to one more example on Instagram of someone completely random. I have no idea who this guy is. I just found him for this video. This is very clean and more personal. He got his highlights for all of his trips. For me, I kind of like to do just like 1 or 2 or 3 highlights. Keep it simple. He got his few things in his bio, and he has all these clean ass pics. Then we go to reels. He keeps all the reels in his reels section, but I'll show you guys how to do Instagram more when I show you my personal Instagram. But for posting in general, just keep minimal captions. Don't overshare your personal details. Very specific. We're trying to show the highlights. Remember that. We're trying to make people wonder, who the fuck is this guy, right? He has a little bit of followers. He has some money, looks like who is this guy? Now, the most important part that you guys probably came here for is getting the content. Like, how do I actually LARP? Now, what you would do is just steal clips on TikTok or Pinterest. So you can get photos or videos from TikTok, pretty much photos only from Pinterest. But let me just show you how to do that right now, because there is kind of multiple ways to do it. So let's go to TikTok, and I might search, let's just say lifestyle. Then we see all of these clips of like these LARP type videos. So you can copy a link like this. This is way too viral to use. 100k likes. This guy probably has a big page and he's showing his face a lot. Like, you're not going to steal this because you're going to get exposed so easily. So you copy a link, go to Snaptic. Obviously do this on mobile. Like, we're not trying to use TikTok desktop. And then you just download the video right here. Let's go down. Let's see. Okay, 14k. What is this? This guy isn't showing his face. Nice. And then we can go to some videos with like 1,000 views. It's kind of too fast cut up. Don't worry guys, if there's a text, you can remove it as well. Just go to VMake, get this app, pretty cheap if you want to pay for it. And then you can remove any text from a video, but let's just find like a decent video with low views. This one, it's just one long clip. Looks like you would just copy the link, download, and then you just slowly like build up a collection of clips like that, and then you make your own videos. Now the other way is to build up an optimized For You page for this. So an optimized For You page is you're liking lifestyle videos, you're commenting on LARP type videos, and then slowly that becomes your whole For You page, and then that's how you're gonna find new videos that are underground. So let me give you an example. I'm just gonna scroll until I find a video like that. I would like the video, I would maybe comment something, save it to favorites if I want to use these clips. I would keep scrolling, don't even give anything any watch time. Okay, maybe this one I like. This is by TGR, way too popular. You guys get the gist. Then slowly over time, your For You pages become only LARP clips. That's an optimized For You page. And then let me show you an example of Pinterest. Let's go to Pinterest real quick. Pinterest has all these type of lifestyle photos, and you can see my algorithm is already kind of optimized for this, not because I LARP, but just because. But let's go here. Let's say I want to take this photo. Now keep in mind, Pinterest photos and images, you can get exposed way quicker because all I have to do is copy this image, put it into Google, reverse image search, and I can find out exactly where it's from and how many people posted it. So be careful with images way more. Videos, people are not reverse video searching. That's way harder. So it's way better to use your own photos or even just take screenshots from videos. So Pinterest, I would kind of like avoid because you're just gonna get caught so easily unless you don't give a fuck. So film constantly whenever you're in high-end areas or you're on vacation. Here's a bunch of examples right here, but just film everything. But also you can use AI, and this is way more common nowadays. You're starting to see it like on your For You page because AI is actually starting to get that good. So for pictures, you can use Nano Banana Pro, which is Gemini, so Google Gemini, and you can use Sora 2 for videos, or you can use this thing called Higgs Field, which kind of uses everything. And the nice thing about AI is there's just unlimited things to do. You can insert yourself into different areas. You can add cars to your house. You can add yourself into private jets, like whatever type of fucking LARP you want to do, you can do it. But AI in general, for the pictures, it's getting hard for people to notice. Let me show you an example. This is a fully AI video. Like, look how good this looks. Come on, nobody's gonna be able to tell, and especially with pictures. So now you know how to get content. Here's the next thing, which is selling it. So the first thing you can do is get an Airbnb, or you can get car rentals, or you can even travel to cheap countries like Bali or Thailand or Vietnam where you can actually afford a luxury lifestyle. At that point, you're not even LARPing. But then the next thing is you can buy reps. There's a lot of reps on Depop. You can go on AliExpress, you can go on eBay, DHgate, Chrome Hearts, whatever you want, even Shopify plaques. Like, you can pretty much buy anything fake. And here's an example of a whole bunch of props. Just this whole materialistic shit where he has all this stuff just to flex. Like, you can buy reps of all this, even the tech shit. And then the next thing you can do is get screenshots, and you can easily fake any of these if you want to. Sales dashboards or like trading dashboards or WAP payouts, whatever you want to do to make it look like you have money. You can even like fake the live dashboard where you refresh. It's easy to do. You guys can find that out your own way. I've never done that, but if you want to do that, you can do that. Next thing is you can get credit cards. Let me show you mine, because getting the Amex Gold and Platinum, like the rich looking ones, but I have 3 Amex Golds. These things are easy to get. On top of that, you can just share and split all of this. You can split an Airbnb 10 ways or a rental 10 ways. Everybody films it. Next most important part is the posting strategy if you actually want to go viral with LARPing. So first, it's going to be slideshows. So let me show you on TikTok some of the slideshow examples. You don't even have to do anything. You just throw in a bunch of photos like this. It's just easy. You just put on a viral audio and then you just throw your pictures in. The next thing is copying viral concepts and audios, which is good on just how to go viral in general in short form. And especially with audios, like copy all these audios. Don't even have to put text for these type of like LARP videos. I mean, bro, just look at this. He's just recording random shit like smoothies, clothes, walking around. Like, this doesn't even mean you have money. Another thing is, like, once you just like realize the LARP method, you realize, bro, all of this means you can just have no money. But let's look at this guy. This guy's famous, obviously. He's recording cars. None of those are his, by the way. City. Now, I've been showing you this old money, like luxury type of LARP, but there's other niches of it as well that you guys can do, and you can find your own niche. So look at this one. This is more of like a travel, nature one, except he has a club, whatever. But that's more travel vibes. Now let's look at the next one. This is like that Mexican reseller with cash, like the dumb version. But if you want to do this one,
On September 15, 2018, a young woman boarded a flight from her home in Naples, Italy, to Moscow. At the time, nobody took much notice. She was a jewelry designer and a Peruvian socialite, known to travel all the time for work all around the world. Nothing about it seemed out of the ordinary until she never came back. The woman, known in Naples as Maria Adela Kuchveld Rivera, completely vanished. She never returned to move out of her apartment, never said goodbye, stopped replying to her friends' messages, left just a cryptic post on Facebook implying that she was going in for long treatment and might be back in touch one day. But she never did. All traces of her vanished after her flight to Moscow, except she took one important thing with her. In the words of somebody who considered her a close friend, the only thing that she ever felt attached to, her cat. And it's exactly thanks to her cat, Luisa, that we managed to find her, Maria Adela, years later, living in Russia under her true identity. All along, for more than a decade, she had been a Russian spy. Hi, I'm Christo Grozev, an investigative journalist. I focus on exposing Russian spies and intelligence operations. Over the past year, we've told you about GRU's Unit 29155, a sabotage and assassination unit of Russia's military intelligence. The operatives involved in these operations are what we would call short-term illegal spies. They leave Russia under fake identities to carry out assassinations, poisonings, or other acts of sabotage, and then return home weeks or sometimes days later. But today I'm going to talk about a different type of spy, one that doesn't operate under the same timeline. Welcome to our new series on my team's investigations into deep cover Russian illegals. Illegal spies live abroad for years, sometimes decades, embedding themselves in foreign societies, learning the language and the cultural idiosyncrasies, and working menial or sometimes fancy jobs. They live under entirely fake identities. Their pasts are 100% fabricated, including their nationality, family history, educational and career background. All of it is thoughtfully crafted by Russian intelligence to help the illegal infiltrate the right groups in the West and maintain their cover identity for years or even decades after that. If this sounds a lot like the setup of the TV show The Americans, famously featuring a family of Russian spies embedding themselves in American suburbia in the late 80s, you'd be very right. That's exactly what it is, and it's a real thing. It's the Soviet and now the Russian illegal spy program. Illegal spies differ from traditional spies in a few key ways. Unlike what are called legal spies, who are sent overseas as diplomats, military attachés, or other official government positions, illegal spies intentionally try to hide any connections to the Russian government or even to Russia. As a result, they have no diplomatic cover if they are discovered or arrested. Over the years, we've uncovered more than a dozen of these deep cover illegals. Some of those were even part of the recent prisoner swap between Russia and the West last year. Our investigations have revealed complicated characters and subplots that sometimes verge on the absurd. This is definitely one of those. The investigation into Maria Adela Kuchveld Rivera, the cat lady as we call her, began unintentionally in September of 2018. Earlier that day, my team at Bellingcat at the time, alongside our partners at The Insider, had published a different investigation. Months earlier that year, former Russian spy Sergei Skripal had been poisoned in Salisbury, England. We had discovered that the Russian operatives within the GRU, Russia's version of the CIA, had been issued passports with nearly consecutive numbers. This finding was a huge breakthrough moment for our team. Not only was it completely absurd, we just couldn't believe that an oversight in tradecraft of this magnitude would ever be made, but it was also the gift that kept on giving. It didn't just help us with the Skripal investigation, we found a third member of the poisoning team thanks to that, but it allowed us to identify a whole range of passport numbers that we could credibly suspect of being Russian intelligence operatives. For the GRU, this discovery was obviously a disaster. As soon as we discovered numbers we suspected of belonging to Russian spies, dozens of active spies around the world were burnt overnight. Many of them were under deep cover throughout Europe, after spending years or even decades living under fake identities. The cat lady was one of these spies. I remember the day I stumbled upon this name for the first time. I had just received access to a leaked dataset of Belarusian border crossings, and I was eager to find if any Russian spies, using passports from the now known range, had crossed the border of this country that sits between Russia and Western Europe. There was one name that stood out, a beautiful foreign Spanish-sounding name, Maria Adela Kufeld Rivera. It didn't make sense for a foreigner to have a Russian passport, only a few digits away from known GRU operatives. Now, why would the person with that name, traveling repeatedly by train from Moscow to Rome and back, as we could see from the database, use a passport issued by Russians GRU? Why did she even have a Russian passport to begin with? Why would she travel back and forth between Italy and Russia dozens of times in the period 2010 to 2018? And crucially, why did she fly back to Moscow the day after our investigation was released? And why was she never returning back from Russia after that? We started by scouring everything we could do online for any information we could find about her. Fortunately, the internet was flush with pretty pictures, videos, and social media posts. All of these helped us build an idea of her life in Naples, the people she hung out with, the clubs she was part of, the jewelry business that she claimed she was running. We decided to reach out to a few of her friends to see what they could tell us about this woman who seemingly vanished overnight. Her origin story went as follows. Maria Adela Kufeld Rivera was born in Callao, Peru, to a German father and a Peruvian mother on September 1st, 1978. The story she would tell her friends in Naples was quite exotic. Her father abandoned her mother when she was just a baby, with her mother left to raise Maria on her own. Then in 1980, her mother supposedly took baby Maria to Moscow, of all places, to watch the Olympic Games, which were happening there, when she received an emergency message from Peru requiring her to return home immediately. Her mother left little baby Maria in the care of a Soviet family that she had apparently befriended during her visit, and then she never returned. Maria was then raised by these adoptive parents in Russia and was later abused by her adoptive father. That's the story she was telling everybody. Does any of this sound fishy yet? Not the best origin cover story, or legend as they are called in Russian intelligence jargon. The reason for this sloppy, implausible story was that it had to be invented on the fly, or retrofitted to fit the unexpected circumstances that this spy had landed in. You see, Soviet and later Russian illegal spies are usually deployed with impeccably crafted backstories, legends, and valid passports issued by the country that they purport to originate from. To do this, a whole service department exists in Moscow, with branches at many Russian embassies around the world, whose only job is to hunt for opportunities to create these fake identities, sometimes based on forged original birth certificates, at other times based on stolen identities of deceased people. This had been the case with Maria Rivera's backstory initially. A forged birth certificate issued by a parish church in a small Peruvian village had been used to get the Russian spy an authentic Peruvian passport in 2005. However, just a few months after she had been successfully deployed as a young, attractive Peruvian globetrotter to Malta, the unthinkable happened. A civil officer overseeing this case in Lima, Peru, thought something was fishy about this newly issued citizen passport. The officer reached out to the parish priest at the Cristo Libertado diocese, and the actual priest responded. It didn't take long for the reverend to know that this was all a fake. After all, he was the founder of that church and the inaugural priest. It had been established, and that's where the problem lay, 9 years after Maria's documents, the birth certificate, said was issued there. Unsurprisingly, he reported back to Lima that the documents were clearly fake. And her name, Maria Adela Kufeld Rivera, was even included in an annulled citizenship list in the annual report of the Peruvian Migration Department, available even to download on the internet. In circumstances like this, the Russian illegals machine would just recall the spy back to Moscow and start afresh after a few months or a year under a new identity. However, in this case, our Maria Adela had already been deployed, initially in Malta and then in Italy, and had begun building a promising circle of contacts. She was dating an eligible bachelor, the son of a Malta rich family, and she had befriended people with important contacts in politics, business, and the media. It made no sense to kill all of this and start afresh. So Moscow Center decided to take a huge gamble. They kept Maria Adela deployed in the field, but gave her emergency Russian papers, a Russian passport, from the then unknown GRU range. And to fit that passport, they had to retrofit her backstory. Thus, the implausible Moscow Olympics trip. And even more implausibly, that crazy story held up among her new friends, and no one seemed to question the bona fides of this woman. Apparently, the looks and charisma that went with her went a long way to make up for the GRU operational deficiencies. But we still didn't understand why or what she had been doing all this time, initially in Malta and then in Italy, as her social media posts showed to us. By 2018, she had lived in Europe for over a decade, known to her friends as a Peruvian jewelry maker. Using social media posts, travel records, and flight data attached to the newly uncovered passport, we began piecing together her movements from 2009 to 2018. Between 9 and 12, she appeared in Malta, Rome, Paris, and in London. She had infiltrated numerous different expatriate circles in these countries. She had a rich boyfriend in Malta, later another rich one in Italy. She took trips to Africa and the Middle East to attend many jewelry expos. But more interestingly than these travels was her base in Naples, Italy. That really drew our attention. See, Naples is home to NATO's Joint Forces Command Center. It is a major operational headquarters for the alliance, which makes it the ideal place for a Russian spy posing as a socialite to live. Maria opened her jewelry business here in 2013, first establishing herself in the community. Later she helped relaunch and became the secretary of a local charity organization, which had been launched by a NATO officer earlier, called the Lions Club. Through the Lions Club, Maria began to develop friendships with other members, including the wives of important NATO colonels and generals. It was also reportedly a good place for her to seed romantic relationships with people that were close to NATO circles, or even within NATO itself. These relationships granted her access to untold NATO secrets without arousing suspicion. Unlike what you might expect from a highly trained spy, however, Maria Adela was also known to be very emotionally unpredictable. These ups and downs and frequent heartbreaks that she talked about likely complicated her operational consistency. From a professional sense, however, her jewelry brand did offer her the perfect cover story. We began investigating Serene, her company, first using social media posts. She marketed herself as an artisan boutique jewelry designer. She traveled all the time to meet with important partners and buyers, giving the impression of a sophisticated and busy businesswoman. However, like most things in her life, that wasn't exactly what it seemed like. When we reversed image searched the photos of her jewelry, the jewelry that she supposedly designed herself in Naples, we discovered that they were actually cheap trinkets purchasable online from Chinese websites and wholesalers. This was an exciting discovery for us because it was yet another proof that Maria Adela was living a lie. But those around her in Naples didn't realize this. She was even invited to host grand openings for her storefront, named the Serene Concept Gallery, inviting friends from all over to come celebrate. A promo video for the venue that we found online markets it as a haven for the high-rolling public, including local politicians, businessmen, and celebrities. She was even interviewed for an Italian TV channel at the time. Again, that's a great way to get close to powerful contacts that might be useful to Russia. The jewelry brand also provided Maria with a useful excuse for travel and for building relationships elsewhere. For example, Maria visited Bahrain multiple times after 2013 under the pretext of attending the annual Jewelry Arabia Expo. She seemed to have made good contacts in the country, as in December 2014 she posted a photo on Serene's company Facebook page of her gifting cufflinks to the country's prime minister at the time, Prince Khalifa bin Salman Al Khalifa. As I mentioned earlier, the Lions Club charity was also a key way that Maria was building an important relationship circle. She was so committed that she eventually became the secretary of that local chapter. According to a German Bundeswehr officer who was treasurer of the Lions Club branch in 2015, the club's membership had begun waning before Maria joined, An executive from the biggest Lions Club in Naples recommended Maria Adela as a way to invigorate momentum. He said she's very enthusiastic, she'll bring people back. He recalls that Maria Adela was very active in trying to revitalize the club, attending all the events, and at one point in 2018, as membership began declining again and the prospects of club closure re-emerged, she even volunteered to pay herself for everybody's membership fee. This gesture actually directly aligns with the technique used by spies to gather profiling intelligence. For example, identifying people with financial difficulties could mean finding targets potentially susceptible for external influence and who may be vulnerable to recruitment or blackmail. This would be seen as a valuable intelligence for the illegal spy to pass on to other operatives who would then take more actionable initiatives with that information. Then on September 15, 2018, one day after our article exposing the Salisbury poisoners and the GRU passport range was published, Maria purchased a one-way ticket to Moscow. In the blink of an eye, she left her jewelry boutique, friendships, and nearly all of her personal possessions behind, without saying goodbye to anyone. Then, 2 months after her sudden departure, Maria made one final cryptic Facebook post. She claimed that she had been suffering from cancer and revealed that her hair had just grown back after chemotherapy. This appears to be an attempt to explain her disappearance without offering any verifiable information. Now, her GRU passport number, the unlikely details of her childhood, and her fake jewelry business being stationed at NATO headquarters convinced us that Maria was a GRU illegal spy already. But as in many of our investigations into illegals, the final piece of evidence we needed was to confirm not who she wasn't, Maria Adela, but who she really was, identifying her Russian real identity. However, uncovering Maria's real identity ended up being a frustrating months-long challenge for us. Initial searches for any thread that would connect Maria to life in Russia were fruitless. We didn't really have a place to start because we couldn't find a single true detail to search around. Her name, birthday, and career were completely fake. Searching for her face in Russian passport databases yielded hundreds of possible matches with very low match probabilities. No public sightings or social media profiles with her face popped up anywhere in Russia. It was a deafening digital silence after her disappearance from Italy. Then I remembered how often sources in Naples consistently described